That was wonderful. So Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
So, but why in March? Why would we celebrate New Year in March? Let's see if this thing works. So it's Narooz, or New Day. It's an Indo-European language. So no is new, and rouge is day, new day. So it's also, as the mayor said, and also Dr. Rofaro, it's the vernal equinox. That's basically what you're celebrating. But to make it easy, so that you kind of understand all Persian traditions and celebrations, the Iranian school of thought is a very natural, if you want to call it, religion. It's not abstract. So it's closely attached to the cosmos and our planetary movement. And that includes all Iranian celebrations. So the sun comes every day, the sun goes every day, the water goes down the river, and so goes the Persian, Iranian, indigenous Iranian religion and school of thought. So during the, what makes us have the 4 seasons is that our planet is actually a little bit crooked. You know, it has a 23-degree angle. And that makes it perfect to have the 4 seasons. So as our planet moves around the sun, there's actually on 2 positions where the sun, that angle is kind of straight. So the sunlight shines on our planet equally between north and south. So you're in perfect balance between northern and southern hemisphere. That's basically what is the vernal equinox, and that's exactly when the Iranian New Year starts. So it's not always on one date and at 12 midnight. It can change. It could be anytime between March 19th to all the way to March 21st, and sometimes March 22nd. So this tradition originally it's an Indo-European tradition. And so are all the Iranian nations that are Indo-European nations. And the reason we call them Indo-European, obviously, or Caucasian, the circle that you see in the picture, that circle is basically Caucasia, which is today's Armenia, Azerbaijan, Georgia. So between the Black Sea and the Caspian Sea, so that's Caucasia. So when you see an American say, I'm Caucasian, that's what they mean is that's where my ancestors come from. So out of that area, there was a big migration. One group went to Central Europe, and the other went to India. So that's what they call the Indo-European culture, Indo-European language, Indo-European heritage, and of course celebrations. This is also a tree of languages that you can see where all the Indo-European languages, how they are very much related. So for instance, in Persian, door is dad, father is pedar, mother is madar, lip is lab, chin is chune, eyebrow is abru, and so on. So the country used to be called Iran-Vich, basically the home of the Aryans. That's another name actually for the Indo-Europeans or Caucasians. But then the name Aryan was kind of ruined during the Second World War. So they changed it. Now you refer to yourself either as Caucasian or Indo-European. So out of that name, 2 countries still carry the name, which is Ireland and Iran, which both have the same meaning, the land of the Aryans. So who celebrates Narooz? Many of your ancestors did. Also the mayor's ancestors probably celebrated Narooz as the start of the new year, because December actually means 10, like a decimal. November means 9. October means 8, like an octagon. September means 7. As a matter of fact, August was changed because St. Augustine was born in August, and July was changed. The name was changed to July because Julius Caesar was born in July. So what year is it? There's different calendars. So in Mitrakhana, which is the old, very ancient Iranian religion which had a great impact on the Romans. They celebrate 7039. The Zoroastrian year will be 3754, and the new calendar, which is the Shia calendar in Iran, is 1395. So the reason our ancestors celebrated Nowruz was because this 23.5-degree angle gives us the 4 seasons. And here you can see in the Middle East, on the right corner, you see the tip of the Persian Gulf. This is just around springtime when you see that the snow is melting. And I use my native country just to show you how severe some of the winters can be. So this is the city of Tehran, and you see these Alborz Mountains in the background. So the winters can be very harsh. This is north of Tehran. This is actually a lift that you can take to northern. Many of you have probably done that. So many of the cities, I know there are many Iranians here, that how many school days that we could, didn't have to go to school because of heavy snowfall. And so that's what you had. You had the northern plains frozen, and then suddenly spring starts and everything starts changing. So this is Tehran, and you have Mount Damavand right at 18,500 feet right north of Tehran. And this is Damavand in the spring. So you still have the snow, but the snow starts melting. The city is feeling the Nowruz, the New Year coming. Obviously, it's one of the biggest. It's a mega city. Nobody has exact numbers, but I'm told that during the day or at night it has a population of like 13, 14 million, and during the day of 20 to 22 million people. So it's really nice when the snow is gone, and the parks, many parks and flowers, starts blooming. You can see more green rather than the trees. This is on the Caspian Sea coast in northern Iran. Nowruz first started in Persepolis, celebrated by Darius or Dariush, the Persian emperor. That's also Gilda Mushir's son. So the Achaemenian Empire, they celebrated Nowruz. This was actually the United Nation. It's called, actually, that gate is called the Gate of All Nations. And on the bottom of that, you can see the carvings are from people from Africa, from Asia, from Europe, from everywhere. So, which was eventually destroyed by Alexander the Not So Great. So, what are the boundaries of Nowruz? So this was the first Persian empire, or what I like to call the Persian Republic, because they were literally countries, but they were united as a federal, through the federal government. So this is today of those. So exactly the way what Mayor was saying is the countries that still, with a great majority, celebrate Nowruz end in Stan. So if a country ends in Stan, they probably celebrate Nowruz. And Stan in Persian means state. So if you say Afghanistan, means the state of Afghans. Kurdistan means the state of the Kurds. So all of the stands, and then the minorities, such as the Zoroastrian minorities in India, and then the Kurds, of course, in Turkey, and many minorities in other places. So the light plays a very important, the fire in the Persian tradition, in the Iranian traditions. So the last Wednesday or Tuesday night before the New Year, people jump over fire. If you go to Corona del Mar, you see probably millions of Iranians. Same thing, I think they have it in West Los Angeles on the beach, that they make these fires, and it's a tradition where people jump over the fire. So we have the same celebration in Claremont, but we don't jump over the fire, because originally this was a Zoroastrian symbol which represents enlightenment. Most universities today have a flame in their logo as a symbol of enlightenment. So Iranians originally used to hold fire in high regards. And this is in Azerbaijan. You see the fire on the four corners of this fire temple. But when Iran was conquered by Arabs, they were told they believed that Iranians are worshipping the fire. And Iranians, I don't even think really worshipped anything, you know. And they thought they wanted kind of to break this, they thought that they're worshipping something they shouldn't, so they made them jump over the fire. So that's how the tradition has changed. So you see the Hafsin table on that table over there, and these are obviously everything that Mother Nature can offer. As we were saying, it's a very natural tradition. So those are the items on the table. In my opinion, the most important item on the table is a mirror, because it represents self-reflection, and it's also in the Persian tradition, in the Persian language, the way we say religion, we say ayin, because it means ayene. Ayene, ayin, didan, did, they all meaning basically what you see, seeing yourself, discover yourself. So I think that's very important. It ties in right into the Enlightenment. And of course, Sabze, which represents, you see it right here in the front of the stage, rebirth. And this is basically what eventually became Easter, a rebirth. When you have the frozen fields, plains, snow everywhere, and suddenly you look at the plains and you have flowers and everything. In the Persian tradition, no animal has ever to lose life or be killed to honor that celebration. The only species ever used in a setting is typically the goldfish, and it's alive. So apple represents beauty, and then you have garlic for medicine, and sumac, and vinegar, patience. And this is a girl dancing in Kazakhstan for Narooz. Now this is an interesting, when we were kids, during Narooz time, you had people go on the streets and play these instruments and celebrate. It has a very, it's a distinguished sound that the minute you hear it, it's just wonderful that you know that the new year is here. Going back to that Indo-European heritage, these are basically the same instrument they still play in the Alps, in Switzerland. And you know how they have the yodel, and then, you know, the Iranian music has also kind of what we call chah-chah, or the yodel. This is in Tajikistan. These are girls in Tajikistan celebrating the coming of Narooz. And of course it ties in right into the other name, Ireland. It's St. Patrick's Day. It's basically the same celebration. This is in Kyrgyzstan, which is very close to China. Of course, also in the Western China, Narooz is celebrated. And these are girls that want to get married. It brings good luck in Kyrgyzstan. There are Narooz parades all over the place in New York, now in Los Angeles. Sorry, I'm going. Narooz is not a religious holiday, okay? So Iranian Jews celebrate Narooz, Iranian Christians, Armenian celebrate Narooz, and so, of course, do the Zoroastrians. Narooz has been recognized in many states and countries, including Canada. You can have that Hafsin table anywhere at your home. You can have it under the water when you're scuba diving. This was our celebration in Claremont that we do every year with kids. And that's our fire in Claremont. As I said, we don't jump over the fire. I will be featured in a documentary on National Geographic Channel. It's called The Story of God with Morgan Freeman. In 6 episodes, I will be the second or third, and I will give the Iranian perspective. And they gave me evil. I'm going to be talking about evil. But so anyhow, it's The Story of God with Morgan Freeman on National Geographic Channel, starting on April 3rd. I have some magazines here. It's in English and Persian on that table. They're free. Please help yourself. if you want to take them. And at this time, I'd like to invite Noah Rofara, who is a young man at a very young age. He's already a philanthropist, activist, superb student, 4.7 GPA, and he's going to do an invocation for Narooz. Happy Narooz to you all.